Here we are, video number 3. In this video, we'll talk about what I said was coming, which is economic equivalence. Just a little background, and then we'll open up a Google Sheet and we will examine a table that's in the textbook, and I want to walk you through it, how the table's developed and what it means. The principal reason we go through this is that to effectively solve engineering economy problems, we need to be able to compare alternatives, and we need to be able to reduce a series of cash flows down to a single number, really, to compare alternatives and to get an assessment of the value, economic value of a particular alternative. So we need a tool to do this, and we need to understand economic equivalence. The problems we will look at will have cash flows, series of cash flows, sequences of cash flows, where there may be cash flowing in or out. There will be cash flowing in one year and the next year and the next year and the year after that, the year after that. So as we solve these problems, we need to be able to collect all those cash flows together in a meaningful way. And this meaningful way will depend primarily upon two things, which will be time and interest rate, given, of course, this sequence of cash flows that we have. So as we begin to do that, I'm going to look at table 4.1 in the text, and it's on page 112. And this table is a way to look at three different ways to pay back a loan. And as we go through this, I'll discuss where these, for the most part, where these numbers come from. Some of it I'll save till a little bit later, maybe a couple of videos down the road, next section in chapter 4. But it's important to understand that as we go through these three different ways to pay back this loan, that they're all what we will call economically equivalent ways. So let's, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to the spreadsheet, and you can follow along as I develop the spreadsheet. I would also encourage you to open your textbook to page 112 if you have the current edition, and look at table 4.1. So here we go. I'll share the sheet with you. And there it is. This sheet is says 3 plans for repayment of $17,000 in 4 months with interest at 1% per month. So first of all, we've borrowed $17,000, a very short-term loan, because we will pay it all back in 4 months, and the interest rate is 1% per month. So every month we'll be charged 1% interest. Plan 1 that we'll examine first is pay the interest due at the end of each month, and then we'll pay the principal, that is the amount that we originally borrowed, at the end of the 4th month. So you can see we've already filled out the amount that was borrowed at initially, how much we owe at the beginning of the 1st month, and here in the payment we will make on the principal of the loan at the end of the 4th month. Let's calculate some of these values. Here we will have to calculate the interest accrued for the month. If we owe $17,000 and we're paying 1% per month, this is equal to 0.01, the 1%, times the amount that we owe, or $170. 1% of 17,000. So the total money owed at the end of the month, That is, at the beginning of the month, we owed $17,000, interest of $170 accrued during the month. At the end of the month, we owe what we owed at the beginning plus the interest that we have accrued, $17,170. We make no principal payment at the end of the month. All right, we're not paying down on the $17,000. In this plan, we're only paying the interest. So out here, the end of month payment or cash flow is going to be the sum of the interest, because we're going to pay the interest, plus the principal payment, which for us will be zero. $170 is what we'll pay. So we owe at the end of the month $17,170. We pay $170. So how much we owe at the beginning of the next month is simply the $17,000. Let me go through it a little bit more technically, however. This will be what we owed at the end of the month minus what we paid is how much we will owe, and that's $17,000. What is our interest? Well, again, our interest is 1% of what we owe. I can just drag that down. It's $170. How much do we owe at the end of the month? $17,170. We're not making any principal payments here. So how much total payment will we make? $170. I can copy this formula down because it follows the same rules as the previous month. $17,000. How much interest? $170. What do we owe? This is all very much the same. The fourth month, we owe $17,000. The interest that's accrued is over the year is $170. What do we owe? $17,170. Now, however, we pay off not only the $170, but the $17,000. So we pay $17,170. And if we were to calculate our balance here, if we were to drag this down and calculate what we owed, we owe nothing. So we're done. That's the way we repaid the loan in this manner. There are loans that work this way, business loans in particular, where you pay only the interest. Even some home mortgages used to be quite popular. Now they're less popular, but that's where you pay the interest only, and then you make a balloon payment, if you will, at the end of the loan period to pay off the loan. That's one method. Now, plan two. Pay off the debt in 4 equal end-of-month installments, principal and interest. Well, that's very good. This is like a typical loan that you would have if you borrow money. More often than not, you pay this off in equal payments, equal installments. The headings for these columns are the same. There's what we owe initially. What's our interest? It's equal to 0.01. Times what we owe, $170. What do we owe? We owe the original amount plus the interest that accrues, $17,170. Okay. This $43,5678, you'll notice, is a function here. PMT function. Those of you who are just learning this may not yet be familiar with the PMT function. I'm not going to describe it in detail now. We'll do that later. But just briefly, this is the PMT function arguments. The first argument is the interest rate. The next argument is the number of periods. And the last argument here that I'll use here is just the amount of the loan. This was $17,000, B16. So this calculation gives us what the monthly payments would be. Notice that this monthly payment is a little bit different than the one in the book. This is the one in the book is calculated in a different manner than this one is. We won't worry about those details at the moment. Okay, so what is our principal payment here? This is how much we would pay in principal. Well, in these equal payment situations, this total payment here consists of two components. One component is the interest, and the other component is a pay down of the principal. Therefore, we can see that if my payment to principal is this number less the interest part of that payment, which is $170. So I will say this is equal to my total payment minus the interest I paid. $4186.78 is the amount of principal that I paid on the loan. So I paid $4186.78 on principal. I paid $170 in interest, and the total of those led to my monthly payment of $4356.78. Okay, what do I owe then at the end of that period, or at the beginning of the second month? Well, what did I owe before? $17,000. And now I subtract not the payment I made, but the principal amount, the amount that I reduced the loan amount by. So I owe $12,813.22 at the beginning of the second month. What about my interest? Well, my interest payment is 1% of the $12,813.22, or $128.13. Not bad. Less interest. How much do I owe in total? I owe, again, the sum of $12,813.22 plus the interest that accrued, or $12,941.35. I make a payment of $4356.78, but remember, $128.13 of that is interest. So the principal amount, I can drag this formula down, the principal amount that I pay is $4228.65. Very nice. I'm paying a little bit more off on the loan and a little bit less on interest. For the third month, I now owe $84.58. The interest, $85.85. So that my interest continues to go down as I pay down this loan. There's how much I owe at the end of the third month. Here's how much of that is principal payment, because remember, I'm still making these constant payments every month. What do I owe at the beginning of the fourth month? $4313.64. My interest is $43.14. And the sum of those, the total I owe, is $4356.78. Look at that. It's exactly equal to the amount of my payment. So the principal amount that I will pay off is going to be the $4313.64. You'll see as I drag this down. Here we go. I pay off all the principal, I pay the interest, and I'm done. I will have paid off the entire loan. If we wanted to calculate what we owed, there we go. That's what we owe after our payment in the fourth month. Again, this is the common ordinary monthly payment plan for purchasing something. Last but not least, Plan 3 says we're going to pay nothing at all. You borrow $17,000 and you pay it back at the end of the fourth month in one lump sum that includes all of the interest and all of the principal at once. Again, there we go. We owe $170 in interest. We owe $17,170. We make no payment at all. and we pay nothing here. We don't pay interest. We pay nothing. So this number here would be equal to the $17,000. I'm incorrect. Sorry, back up. We owed $17,170, so this is equal to $17,170 minus the principal we paid. We owe $17,170. The interest on that now is going to go up because we owe interest on a little bit more money than we did before. So we owe $17,341.70. We're going to pay nothing. Here in year 3, how much will we owe? Or month 3, pardon me. We owe the $17,34.70. There's our interest accrued. It goes up and up and up. How much we owe goes up and up. We still pay nothing. In the beginning of month 4, we owe $17,515.12. The interest on that is $175.15, and we owe at the end of the 4th month $17,690.27, and we will pay that. We're going to pay off everything we owe. We'll pay $17,690.27, and there you go. And then we will owe nothing. So 3 plans. In this plan 3, at time 0 right now, we get $17,000 in our pocket. It doesn't matter what we do with it. We don't worry about that right now, but we get $17,000 in the loan, and at the end of month 4, we pay back $17,690.27. Plan 2, we get $17,000 in our pocket to do with whatever we do. We're borrowing the money. We pay $4,356.78 each at the end of each month, month 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when we're finished, we have paid off the loan. Plan 1, at the end of each month, we pay $170, which is the interest only on the loan. And the end of the 4th month, we pay the interest of $170, plus we pay off the loan, the originally borrowed amount of $17,000. So we owe $17,170. Okay, that's you might want to keep that in front of you as I talk. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. These are all economically equivalent. All economically equivalent at 1% per month for the 4 months over which we address this problem. Economic equivalence means, from a monetary standpoint, from a cash flow standpoint, you are indifferent, completely indifferent to these. They're the same. And let's look at plan 3 for just a minute. I guess I see this exactly as the following. Think about yourself. And you were born, and when you were born, you were a certain way. You were a bubbly infant. Let's say, picking a number out of the air, you were 7 pounds and 20 inches long, and probably immediately you were pretty ugly, but you got cute very quickly, and then I'm sure you've stayed cute over the years. But it has been over the years, and you were 1, and then you were 2, and then you were 3, and when you turned 3, you were a lot different than you were when you were born, but yet you were the same. You're the same person. You're equivalent, if you will. You are exactly the same person, the same DNA, the same blood type, the same, everything, except you're different. You're older, you're wiser, you're smarter. Hopefully you're wiser. You're able to do more things, you're more physically mature, and yet you're the same. Economic equivalence works on basically the same concept. The $17,000 at time zero today and the $17,690.27 at the end of the fourth month are the same, given 1% per month growth rate, if you will, interest rate. And this is the fourth month, the 17,690.27. They are economically equivalent. I am indifferent. If the interest rates are 1% per month, I'm indifferent between $17,000 today or $17,690.27 4 months from now. They're the same to me. It's like they're the same person, just different age, different point along the timeline. And $17,600 or $17,000 today is economically equivalent to these payments of I can't remember what it was, 43 whatever it was. Excuse me. Those monthly payments. I'm indifferent between $17,000 today and those equal monthly payments at the end of each month for 4 months. They are economically equivalent. So those payments are all equal, if you will, economically equivalent to $17,000 today. And since they're economically equivalent, and we can, logic applies here. A equal B, B equals C, A equals C. So those monthly payments of $4,300, whatever it was, $4,300 each and every month, beginning at the end of month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, that sequence of payments is economically equivalent to $17,690.27 at the end of the fourth month. Those also are economically equivalent. And those are, each one of those is economically equivalent to $170 at the end of month 1, the end of month 2, end of month 3, and $17,170 at the end of month 4 together. Those are all economically equivalent to that. And why do we care about this? Why is this important? This is important because we will need to look at future cash flows and when they happen. And in order to compare alternative A to alternative B, we have to compare them in the same manner. We have to compare apples to apples. We can't compare a cash flow in year 0 really to a cash flow in year 5. Those happen at 2 different points in time, and there's interest going on and values are changing. You wouldn't want someone necessarily comparing you at one age to you at another age, right? We have to do it on a fundamentally basic level. So we'll want to move cash flows from the future to the present, from the present to the future. We'll want to spread them out over time. We'll want to take cash flows that are spread out over time and move them somewhere else, representing one number. And economic equivalence allows us to do that, as long as we agree on the interest rate. And all these cash flows are moved around according to the interest rate. Economic equivalence helps us to do that. One last thing that I think is important to make a point here, and this may be difficult to do at first, and I hope by the maybe, a few videos down the road, some of the homework problems will help you to get this in your head. We need to start thinking about interest, not as, and I know my examples may not help in that regard, not as we put money in a bank, and the money grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and it grows at this interest rate. When I put in this much, then the next year it's this much, and the next year it's all that is true. But we should think about the interest rate as part of a function that allows us simply to convert cash flows at one point in time to cash flows at another point in time. So when we say a year one cash flow and a year three cash flow, we're going to move the year one to year three. We have to transform it. We have to move it according to some factor that will change it from a year one cash flow to a year three cash flow. And the way that we will do that is with a function that contains the interest rate. So the interest rate is a factor in a function that will allow us to do that. When we use the PMT function in this example, that function allowed us to calculate what those equal monthly payments would be. A similar function would allow us to take those equal monthly payments and convert them into a single cash flow times 0, or even the $17,690.27 at the end of the fourth month. And we'll talk about those sorts of tools in the next video, I'm hoping, video 4, where we'll talk about all of these functions and the conversions that take place. And we'll also talk about cash flow diagrams. Cash flow diagrams are addressed in section 4.5. As you might already detect, it's hard to draw those on a spreadsheet. And I think it's helpful to draw cash flow diagrams. We will actually use what I call a cash flow table, which is equivalent to a cash flow diagram, but it's amenable to use in a spreadsheet. So I hope you are enjoying your time off, except, of course, for what work you're doing for this class. I'm recording this on the 24th of December, and later today I will be making homework 2 available to you, and perhaps even homework 3. Not hoping that you will do it over the next couple of days, but just so it is available for when you do need to do it. I hope you're doing well, and that you're eating right, you're not eating too many sweets. And I'll see you back here on video 4.